Just minutes ago, Joe Flacco dropped a statement that sent shockwaves through Cleveland's sports world. Not because he was bitter. Not because he was throwing shade. But because, for the first time, a veteran quarterback, a Super Bowl MVP who's been there, done that, finally said out loud what fans at training camp have been screaming for weeks: Shedeur Sanders isn't just holding his own, he's winning this battle. If you're here for the real story, the drama the highlight reels won't show, hit that subscribe button. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next, because let's be honest, all summer, Browns camp has been marketed as a fair, open competition between Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. On paper? A QB1 battle. Best man wins. Cue the cliches. But if you've actually been watching the reps, the red zone drills, the scrimmages, it hasn't been a competition. It's been a dismantling. Sanders has been out there carving up defenses like he's playing a different sport entirely. Precision throws. Ice-cold composure. Perfect timing. Even when the blitz comes crashing down, he doesn't flinch. He's steady. He's decisive. And right now? He looks every bit like the quarterback Cleveland's been waiting for. He's running the huddle like a fifth-year vet. Gabriel? Not even close. The moment the pressure rises, the cracks show: hesitation, wild throws, missed reads, and when it all falls apart, the excuses roll in. He's adjusting. It's just nerves. He's got intangibles. Those empty buzzwords are the lifeline keeping his narrative alive. And that's the dirty secret: the media wants Gabriel to be the guy. Why? Pedigree. Hype. Pre-draft chatter. He fit the headline they were dying to write: first-round aura, marketable face, easy storyline. Meanwhile, Shedeur has been quietly torching camp. A 77% completion rate. 9 touchdowns in scrimmages like it's nothing. Laser after laser in tight windows. Yet the headlines? Still stuck on Gabriel. Gabriel shows leadership. Gabriel adjusting. Gabriel still front runner. It's infuriating. Fans aren't blind. They've watched Sanders thread needles while Gabriel sails a 5-yard out of bounds, only for analysts to say, "But you can't teach art." Excuse me, that's why Joe Flacco's voice hits different. He has no reason to sugarcoat, no agenda to push. He's the respected vet, steady, honest, and blunt. So when Flacco says what Cleveland's been whispering all along, that Sanders has separated himself and the competition isn't even close, it flips the script. That's validation. The veteran stamp of approval saying, "You're not crazy. Sanders is outplaying Gabriel. Stop pretending otherwise." And here's the kicker: Sanders is doing it all without the hype machine. While Gabriel gets spotlighted for hitting a routine slant, Sanders is grinding in silence, stacking results, showing composure, and flat-out owning the huddle. His teammates respect him. When chaos hits the field, they look straight to him. That kind of trust can't be faked, can't be spun into a headline, it has to be earned. And Shedeur Sanders has earned it. Yet, the Browns front office keeps playing this strange game, clinging to the illusion of a competition. They keep pushing the Dillon Gabriel narrative, like admitting the truth would ruin their carefully staged preseason drama. But storylines collapse under reality. And reality is simple: Shedeur Sanders is QB1. Not by hype. Not by default. By performance. 9 touchdowns in camp. Nearly 80% completions. Zero panic under pressure. That's not just rookie promise, that's starter-level execution. That's the kind of play that wins games, locker rooms, and eventually, whole cities, and Cleveland knows quarterback heartbreak better than anyone. They've lived through the graveyard of names scribbled onto the QB1 slot, only to be erased in failure. They've endured years of hype cycles, sold potential season after season. But Sanders doesn't feel like hope. He feels like certainty, which makes the media's refusal to acknowledge him all the more insulting. It's not just disrespect, it's narrative malpractice. Gabriel's mistakes get excused, while Sanders' brilliance gets downplayed. They call him a surprise instead of the front runner. They say he's making a case instead of admitting he is the case. He's not making an argument, he's closing it. And then there's Joe Flacco. A Super Bowl MVP, a man who shared huddles with legends, flat out said it, the rookie is the real deal. When a veteran like that says, this kid has it, you don't brush it off. That's not hype. That's recognition. So why haven't the Browns leadership just handed Sanders the keys already? 2 words, politics and pride. They invested in Gabriel. They hyped Gabriel. They sold Gabriel to the fans and the media. And now, admitting that Sanders, a third-round pick, mind you, has outshined him would be embarrassing. That's swallowing crow. That's admitting the guy you overlooked is already better than the guy you built your entire narrative around. But here's the reality, at some point, pride has to step aside for performance. Because you can only deny the obvious for so long, before the locker room turns, before fans start booing, before Joe Flacco's words snowball into undeniable truth. Shedeur Sanders isn't just competing for QB1. He's already taken it. The only question left is whether the Browns will admit it publicly, or keep letting the media play pretend. And let's be clear, this isn't just a Cleveland story. This is an NFL story. Because if Sanders, a third-round pick without the PR machine behind him, can walk into camp, dominate, earn the respect of veterans, and still get overlooked, that tells you everything about how narratives are built in this league. It says talent isn't enough. It says perception still rules. And sometimes, it takes a Joe Flacco to step in and shatter the illusion. The truth is simple, Sanders is the guy. Not someday. Not next season. Now. And the longer the Browns drag their feet, the more foolish they'll look. Because the tape doesn't lie. The stats don't lie. The players don't lie. Shedeur Sanders is ready, and no amount of media spin can erase what he's already proven on the field to Gabriel, though. Whole different story. The hesitation is obvious, the panicked shuffle when the pocket collapses, the routine throws that miss by just enough to kill momentum. And the body language, man, it screams doubt. You see a QB overthinking, not commanding. You see nervous side glances instead of silence when he enters the huddle. The gap between them isn't subtle. It's glaring. You don't need analytics. You don't need all 22 film. Anyone with eyes, ears, or a pulse can tell Sanders has it. Gabriel doesn't. So why are we even pretending there's a debate? 2 words, media narrative. Gabriel was the chosen one months ago, draft status, pedigree, familiar name, the story that fit neatly on paper. He was crowned before the first snap. And when Sanders started cooking? The headlines bent, twisted. Instead of Sanders dominates, it became Gabriel adjusting. Instead of calling Sanders the front runner, they tossed him backhanded compliments like surprising or impressive for a third-round pick. That's not praise, that's condescension. The subtle insult of, wow, he's actually good, as if greatness is impossible unless the league scripts it. And that's where Joe Flacco steps in like a walking truth serum, cutting through the noise with reality, but it's not neck and neck. Flacco just confirmed what Cleveland already knew, Shedeur Sanders is QB1. The so-called competition? Nothing but smoke. And the longer the Browns cling to that illusion, the more they risk losing not just their fans, but their locker room, because players know. They always know. They know who the leader is. They know who earns respect. They know who they want in the huddle on 3rd and 10 with the game on the line. And right now, that's Shedeur. The way he carries himself, different. The way he commands a huddle, veteran-like. The way he reads defenses pre-snap, years beyond his age. That's what teammates notice, not draft status or media hype. Even reporters, those married to their old narratives, are starting to crack, dropping subtle hints that the rookie surprise might actually be much more than just a surprise. And here's the irony, the longer the Browns cling to Gabriel, the worse it looks. Every rep he takes feels forced. Every snap feels like a reminder that politics are outweighing performance. And in a city that's endured decades of quarterback heartbreak, fans don't want politics. They want results. And Sanders is delivering, statistically, visually, emotionally. He's not just playing better. He's leading better. That's the difference. Anyone can make throws in camp, anyone can look solid against vanilla defenses. But commanding respect? That's intangible. That's aura. That's the look teammates give when they hear the play call and think, yeah, we've got this. Gabriel doesn't have it. Sanders does. Because Shedeur isn't just the future, he's the present. He's outplayed the competition, he's earned the job, and with Joe Flacco's statement, there's no hiding it anymore. The dam has cracked. So, what happens now? Does Stefanski swallow his pride and name Sanders the starter? Does ownership finally listen to the fans instead of the PR spin? Or do we watch Cleveland sabotage itself yet again, tripping over stubbornness while burying the one quarterback who might actually change the city's cursed history? Either way, the story is already bigger than the Browns. And Shedeur Sanders? He's standing right in the middle of it, calm, unshaken, and letting his throws do the talking. So buckle up, because this quarterback circus in Cleveland isn't winding down, it's accelerating like a runaway train. At the center of it all lies one undeniable reality: Shedeur Sanders has already won. He's been nothing short of dominant. Every practice, every scrimmage, every drill. While Gabriel's out here throwing wobblers and crumbling under pressure, Sanders is slicing up defenses like a Thanksgiving turkey. Yet somehow, the narrative keeps shielding Gabriel. It's wild. Sanders drops a perfect back shoulder fade, and the coverage says, impressive for a rookie. Gabriel sails a 5-yard check down into the stands, and they brush it off as growing pains. The double standard is exhausting. The reality? Sanders is completing 77% of his passes. He's thrown 9 touchdowns in camp scrimmages. He commands the huddle like he's been in the league for years. His teammates already treat him like QB1. Meanwhile, Gabriel? He shows flashes. Translation: inconsistent. And in the NFL, inconsistency doesn't keep you on the field, it gets you benched. Admitting that means swallowing pride on a national stage. But here's the thing about football: you can't hide the truth for long. Fans see it, players see it, even reporters clinging to the Gabriel storyline are slipping, dropping little hints that maybe, just maybe, Sanders isn't just a flashy rookie, he's the real deal. And the fans? They've already made up their minds. You can hear it in the scrimmages. Every time Sanders threads a dart into double coverage, the crowd erupts like it's the AFC Championship. Every time Gabriel blows a read, the groan is loud enough to echo through the whole city, a city that's tired of waiting, tired of maybe next year, tired of living in the quarterback graveyard. They don't want promises. They want production. And Sanders delivers. That's why Flacco's statement landed like a thunderclap. It wasn't just his words, it was the truth the fans have been shouting all along. Stop pretending, stop dragging this out. Stop insulting everyone's intelligence. Hand Sanders the keys already. But here's the Browns' problem: they're stuck in a tug-of-war. On one side, the tape, the stats, the undeniable evidence. On the other, the narrative they built around Gabriel, the politics, the pride, the PR spin. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because the longer they stall, the more they risk losing. Not just games, the locker room. Players know who their leader is. They know who steadies the huddle, who makes them believe. If coaches keep forcing Gabriel out there while Sanders is clearly the guy, it sends one message: politics matter more than performance. And once you lose the locker room, good luck ever getting it back. Cleveland fans are loyal, but they're not naive. They've lived through decades of quarterback heartbreak, watching the carousel spin with nothing but disappointment. Hype doesn't move them anymore. Results do. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is delivering while Dylan Gabriel is being coddled. If that continues, the boos will rain down, loud and unforgiving. And the media shielding Gabriel today? They'll flip in a heartbeat, torching the Browns for ignoring what's obvious. That's how narratives work: one moment protection, the next condemnation. The longer they stall, the clearer it gets. The problem isn't Shedeur Sanders, it's the Browns' refusal to face reality. The illusion is cracking. Fans are restless, players can feel it, and now Joe Flacco, Super Bowl MVP and respected veteran, has lit the fuse. Shedeur Sanders is QB1. Whether Cleveland admits it tomorrow, next week, or after Dillon Gabriel inevitably collapses under real pressure, the ending is already written. The only question is, will the Browns swallow their pride and make the call before the season unravels, or will they cling to denial until it's too late? Either way, the future is already here.